On July 21st, 2024, the trajectory of my life completely changed. This is a personal post, not a political candidate highlight. So if you're new here, stay for a bit and get to know me as I reflect on this decade of 2025 that we have lived through. So that was the day that Kamala Harris announced her presidential campaign. And if you had asked me before that, I would have told you I wasn't really into politics. I know. I was that person. But I really did think that my voice didn't matter. And I definitely thought that it didn't make a difference. But when she joined that race, something shifted. I felt hopeful, inspired, motivated, like maybe, just maybe, I was supposed to speak up too. If you had told me then that I would become a political advocate, I would have laughed at you like you were crazy. And honestly, there are still moments that I stop and think, who am I? But now in the best way possible. Around that same time, I was also deep in my healing journey, and it's still ongoing. Learning how to use my voice in my personal life, while also finding it in the fight for democracy. And I don't think that was a coincidence. There's a quote I hear in my head every single day. Speak your mind, even if your voice shakes. I bet you know that one too. When I first stepped into the political spaces, I was completely uncomfortable. I didn't feel like I knew enough. I worried that I wouldn't be able to debate or to explain anything in the right way. But I didn't let that stop me. Instead, I decided to become a sponge. I watched, I read, I listened, I learned every single day. And little by little, my confidence grew. Not because I suddenly knew everything. Lord knows. Politics is a lot, and there's a lot of things, some of them I don't even want to know. But because when I did know something, I found out. Just like we say, Google is free. Not to say Google is always right, but it's certainly a good first source to start with. You know, I look back now and I barely recognize the version of me who stayed quiet in those conversations. In January 2025, I found my local Waller County Democratic Club. Yep, even in my very red Texas Waller County, we have a Democratic Club. And I found it and I joined it, having absolutely no idea what I was getting myself into. I just knew that I was ready to dive in. Our club is small, mostly African American, mostly older, people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. And as a 44-year-old white woman, I was immediately aware of my age and my privilege. And that was not an accident that I was there. And I knew it. I was there to bring renewed energy to help amplify these marginalized voices and to show up. So what did I do? I volunteered for everything. Since joining the club, I joined the publicity committee to help with their social media. I became a co-chair for our goals and growth committee to help create more community events. I stepped up as a precinct chair when I realized no Democrat was in that role. And then I became a voter deputy registrar so I could help more people register to vote. What a blue wave that I have been riding. You know, I also learned something huge this year, the power of getting local. I used to focus mostly on federal politics, like most do. But living in Texas, where Republican control and voter suppression are deeply felt, I realized that real change starts close to home. I know, people have been saying it forever, but it took me some time to figure it out for myself. You know, Kamala didn't just give me hope, she gave so many of us a light to stand under together. And yes, the outcome of the election was absolutely devastating, but it also was a wake-up call for Democrats to stop being asleep, to stop being hopeless, to stop being complicit. So joining my local party gave me a sense of purpose during these absolute dumpster fire times. I stopped letting fear and anger eat me alive on the inside, and I started turning it into something more productive. Community. Community has truly been the answer for me. Because healing hasn't been easy. I've lost friendships along the way, especially after Trump was elected. And I know many other people have. Being a blue dot in a very red area is extremely isolating. A place I once felt proud to live in, I started to feel like those walls were closing in. But those losses made room for something else. Over time, I found my people in my county and online. And some of them have become real friends, people who support each other, fight for democracy together, and believe that Texas can bloom. And we will. One of the best decisions I made this year was starting to make videos about Texas politics, and that's how most of you began to know me. Calling out corruption? Definitely. But even more important, explaining what's exactly on the ballot. I started with the Texas constitutional amendments because I also needed to understand them. And then I realized how important it was to talk about who is on the ballot for the primary elections, because this was education for both me and for you. And the response has been incredible. And that led to more doors opening, meeting candidates, city level, statewide, some in person, some online. I get to highlight their campaign, amplify their work, and the gratitude that I've received has been humbling because it is truly an honor. I don't know where this path is going to take me, but I know I'm definitely on the one I am meant to be. This version of me feels aligned in my body for once. I've learned to surrender to the outcome, and it is not easy. I have to relearn to do it every single day because doubt and imposter syndrome still show up, but I just don't choose to live there. I release it and I keep moving forward, trusting that things are unfolding exactly when they're meant to. To anyone else who feels politically frozen, scared, or isolated, I need you to hear this. You are not alone. There are more like-minded people out there than you think. You just have to look. Online is a great place to start. Local clubs, activist groups, and if you don't know where to begin, ask. Jump in my comment section and I will help you. And taking up space now, it means that I don't have to hide anymore. I show up, I speak out, even when my voice shakes. And to the old version of me, the one who thought her voice didn't matter, I would say this. You feel that way because you were conditioned to believe it. What you feel and what is true are not the same. You will find your way to the truth, and when you do, you'll see life through a much clearer lens. And I'll be right here, arms open, saying, welcome to the other side. We did it.